Will Jake Paul's plan to shut Dana White up work, or will it fail spectacularly? What was Jake Paul's absurd stunt ahead of his war with Anderson Silva? And what has Daniel Cormier said about all of this? Luckily for you, we've got everything you need to know about it coming right up. So let's get right into it. Firstly, why did Jake Paul agree to this fight? The former YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul claims that the primary motivation for his decision to take on the legendary mixed martial artist Anderson Silva was to shut up UFC President Dana White. Paul's decision to take on Silva, one of the greatest UFC athletes of all time, who had previously held the middleweight title for a record 6 years and 9 months between 2006 and 2013, shocked many. Silva won his first 16 matches in the UFC and successfully defended the belt 10 times. Even though he is now 47 years old, he is still in excellent shape. He defeated Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and Tito Ortiz in his previous 2 boxing matches, and in a May exhibition match, he completely outclassed Bruno Machado. Silva is a vastly superior opponent to Paul, who called the Brazilian 100% the most complex challenge of his nascent boxing career. In an exclusive main event interview, Paul said to Australian UFC superstar Alexander Volkanovski, "If you remember, Dana White is the one that said I wouldn't accept his fight. He said I would be terrified, and he said Anderson is one of the finest strikers in the world. Therefore, Dana White's silence is Paul's primary motive, along with the fact that this is a test and a fantastic matchup that will sell a lot of pay-per-views. I'm the underdog in this fight, so people are betting against me. I know it's gonna be tough, and I know I'll have to fight a perfect fight to be able to beat him. But I love a challenge, and I love to prove people wrong because I don't think a lot of people think I can win." Up next, how has Jake Paul been training for the fight? In preparation for his battle with Anderson Silva, Jake Paul has improved his training, and he's hopeful that it'll be sufficient to beat the former UFC champion. Paul hasn't faced a professional boxer, but Silva is the closest thing. The Brazilian, best renowned for his MMA accomplishments, also has a 3-1 boxing record and defeated Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. last year. Danny Smith has joined trainer BJ Flores, and Flores believes he will aid in the YouTuber's physical improvement. He explained, "We've brought somebody fairly new to the squad, Danny Smith. When I competed in professional boxing, he served as my trainer. One of the best trainers I know is him. He's a smart, knowledgeable man with extensive boxing experience. I learned a lot about the game from him. He has been excellent for Jake's conditioning and strength. In terms of making Jake a better athlete, he has improved his strength and speed. He is a master with the mitts. He has been a wonderful addition to the group." Paul clarified that he had made adjustments to his approach. "It takes 10,000 repetitions to become a master," he remarked. "As a result, the method keeps becoming better. I'm putting more and more of my hips and legs into the blows. I could even just improve my endurance to throw more punches. My power has significantly expanded throughout this evolution," frightening Anderson. Coming right up, what has Daniel Cormier said about the fight? The former UFC middleweight champion Silva, 3-1 in boxing, will present Paul with his toughest challenge yet in the ring. The fight will take place on October 29th at Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona, as the main event of a Showtime pay-per-view event. Silva's previous opponent in the octagon, Cormier, won't bash the internet sensation. Although he believes Paul, 5-0, has proven himself, he believes Silva's victory over former WBC middleweight champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. to be far bigger than even Paul's greatest in-ring achievement. According to Cormier on ESPN, Anderson Silva, I think, wins the fight. If Jake Paul wins, he's a young man in the prime of his life. And I say that knowing that Jake Paul can now engage in combat. The man is a fighter. I've had it with those who think the kid is a joke. It's not a joke for this youngster. The young man is capable of combat, and numerous justifications exist. However, when we study Anderson, everything he has accomplished, we realize that his victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is far superior to anything Paul has ever accomplished. That is different from defeating Tyron Woodley twice, Ben Askren, and whatever the YouTube guy was, because those people were wrestlers who learned to box. Chavez has never wrestled. He was a man who started boxing as a youngster and competed up to the professional level, earning a ton of money along the way. So that is both their greatest achievement and their greatest moment together. Also, Paul projected in a recent interview with MMA Junkie that his fight with Silva would be his most commercially successful one yet, generating up to 700,000 pay-per-view purchases. Up next, why was Jake Paul on a horse? The 25-year-old social media sensation, Jake Paul, seemed terrified about the pugilistic challenge in front of him as he entered his pro boxing comeback on Saturday, riding into his public workout on horseback and pulling a pair of hilariously huge robots, just days before his 8-round fight with former UFC champion and MMA great Anderson Silva. Paul, 5-0, 4 KOs, worked himself into a light sweat. Paul was shirtless and covered in tattoos. 3-1, 2 KOs in boxing. The Paul's Most Valuable Promotions presented Showtime PPV main event, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, originates from the Desert Diamond Arena outside of Phoenix. The pressure was still on the native of Cleveland, Ohio to find an opponent, on short notice no less, who satisfies both the critical and commercial components that make up a successful pay-per-view promotion. After scheduled fights against Tommy Fury, 8-0 with 4 KOs, and Hasim Rahman Jr., 12-1 with 6 KOs, fell through in recent months, preventing Paul from responding to his critics' loudest question of when will you fight a real boxer. And of course, Silva, a 47-year-old Brazilian superstar who has proven he can outlast his years by defeating former middleweight champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in a split decision in Mexico in June 2021. However, Paul never hesitated to answer yes, unlike the story that everyone, including UFC President Dana White, kept repeating. But how challenging a battle is the Spider against the 6'1" Paul? The betting odds have fluctuated constantly in the bout, with Paul starting as the favorite and swiftly losing it before regaining it only days before fight night. After his workout, Morning Combat questioned Paul on the claim made by his toughest detractors that his boxing career would be effectively over if he suffered just one defeat. Paul was quick to refute the claim. "I love this sport, and I will always be in this sport," Paul said. To Paul's point, his influence on boxing has gone beyond his win-loss record in the 2 years he's been participating in the sport. Lastly, what does Paul's diet consist of, and why is he training at night? Now that I'm in my 3rd year as a professional boxer, many things are coming together. I've grown significantly and rapidly. A new warrior will enter the ring, which will surprise the audience. People are likely to be shocked, in my opinion. It's been incredible. This year's training camp has helped us find our stride and rhythm. His diet has also changed in order to assist him in losing weight. He said, "Breakfast is basically an omelet with 1 slice of toast. Occasionally, I'll skip lunch. I don't eat lunch very often. I become exhausted as a result, which causes me to lose weight. I often eat a high-fiber protein bar as my snack, along with some fruit. Quinoa with fish or chicken for dinner is an option. Not many carbohydrates." So, losing weight to come down to 187 has been quite difficult, but we want to do it properly, where I can have pasta if I want when I wake up on the morning of the weigh-in. If I wanted to do a weight cut for MMA, I could reach 175 next week. However, we cut the weight in advance, so I won't ever have to use the sauna or steam room and will actually weigh the same. He has changed his itinerary to accommodate the anticipated timetable because he has a late night for the fight ahead of him. "Much sleep," he observed. "I typically awaken at about 1 p.m. At night, we train a lot. At night, we fight. We attempt to 8-fight night. In the event that I'm not sparring at night, I'll get up and work out. That might be shadow boxing or mitt work, followed by abs, a jog, or weight training. Recovery follows, and I work with a stretch therapist. I then go into a bed with red lights. When I get home, I drink protein before entering the ice bath and hot tub, and then returning to the ice bath. That usually gives me immediate energy." And there you have it, everything you needed to know about Jake Paul's war against Anderson Silva. Who do you think will win the bout? Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section. Also, be sure to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on more similar content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.